Call me irresponsible. It occurs to me that a 500-megaton bomb planted at just a proper point would
destroy most of California. Millions of innocent people would be killed. And the West Coast, as we know it, would
fall into the sea. Bye-bye, California. Hello, new West Coast, my West Coast.
That's Superman Christopher Reeve listening to criminal Gene Hackman plot to destroy the state of California in Superman in the new $40 million spectacular movie. Superman is the biggest and one of the best holiday films we'll be looking at on sneak previews. Two critics talking about the new movies. And this is Roger Ebert, the Pulitzer Prize-winning film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And across the aisle from me is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune and CBS TV News in Chicago. You know, there's a tradition in the movie business that a lot of the biggest and best and most ambitious films open during the holiday season. Well, sometimes they live up to our expectations, and I think Superman certainly does, and sometimes, alas, they do not.
Now, our next film, we had high expectations for it as well. And the big question, of course, with the movie Superman is, does it live up to its huge promotional and advertising campaign? Well, it had better, because I think the public is wising up to the fact that the bigger the advanced promotional hype on a film, the worse that film probably is. Well, a pleasant surprise this time. Superman is very entertaining. Kids should love it, even though it runs nearly 2.5 hours. Now, the big surprise is that the film's love story, and not the much talked about flying scenes, that's what makes Superman a hit. The movie begins on the planet Krypton as Superman's father, Marlon Brando, says goodbye to his baby son. Krypton's about to blow up, and the baby is about to be sent to Earth.
You will travel far, my little Kal-El. But we will never leave you, even in the face of our death. The richness of our lives shall be yours. All that I have, all that I've learned, everything I feel, all this and more, I bequeath you, my son.
Brando was paid nearly $4 million for his brief role in the picture. He's almost worth it. He makes the fantasy, I think, believable. Now, later in the picture, when that little baby gets to Earth, of course, Superman adopts the guise of Clark Kent, mild-mannered you-know-what, for a great metropolitan newspaper, the Daily Planet. Christopher Reeve, until now an unknown off-Broadway actor, plays the bumbling Clark Kent to a T. Here he is on his first day at the Daily Planet with editor Jackie Cooper and Margot Kidder as reporter Lois Lane.
Lois Lane, say hello to Clark Kent.
Hold you one, Pete.
Remember my dynamite expose on the sex and drug orgies in the senior citizens home? Remember the...
How you doing? Jimmy Olsen, photographer. Oh, hi, Clark Kent. Nice to meet you.
Coming and going.
It's got everything. It's got sex, it's got violence, it's got the ethnic angle. I mean, look at it.
Yeah, so is a lady wrestler with a foreign accent. Ken, can you open this?
Oh, sure, Mr. White.
This could be the basis for a whole series of articles. Making sense of senseless killings by Lois Lane. I mean, we get psychologists, we get sociologists, we get...
Lois, you're pushing a bunch of rinky-dink tabloid garbage. The Daily Planet has a tradition.
I'm sorry.
Gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shake it up like that.
Oh, well, of course not, Lois. I mean, why would anyone want to make a total stranger look like a fool?
I'll take that.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. White.
Olsen, why am I paying you $40 a week when I should have you arrested for loitering? Go get Mr.
Kent.
No,
a towel. Move, kid, move.
Right, Chief.
And make mine black and no sugar.
Right, Chief.
And don't call me Sugar.
Blood is metropolis.
Right, sugar. Chief wants coffee, no sugar. Take tea with lemon.
Lois, why don't you take Kent out to meet everybody, huh? Sure. Just introduce him around. He's starting with the paper today. I'm giving him the city beat.
Chief, that's my beat.
Lois,
Clark Kent may seem like just a mild-mannered reporter, but listen, not only does he know how to treat his editor-in-chief with the proper respect, not only does he have a snappy, punchy prose style, but he is, in my 40 years in this business, the fastest typist I've ever seen.
Excuse me, sir.
Probably wears out a few typewriters along the way, too. The biggest change in the movie from the old 50s Superman TV show is that in this new film, Superman really digs Lois Lane. They both have a big crush on each other, and we see it here in the film's very best scene when Lois interviews Superman for the first time. He gives her a hilarious exclusive interview at her rooftop apartment. Now just watch Christopher Reeve here. He's so good, he makes you forget he's wearing a ridiculous red, yellow, and blue suit with a cape yet.
How tall are you?
About 6'4".
6'4", and how much do you weigh?
Around 225.
225. I assume then that the rest of your bodily functions are normal?
Sorry, beg your pardon?
Well, putting it delicately.
Mm-hmm.
Do you eat?
Yes. Yes, I do. When I'm hungry.
You do? Of course you do. Well then, is it true that you can see through anything?
Yes, I can. Oh, pretty much.
And that you're totally impervious to pain?
Well, so far.
What color underwear am I wearing? Oh, I'm sorry, I embarrassed you, didn't I?
Oh, no.
I did.
No, not at all, Miss Lane. It's just that this platter must be made of lead.
Yes, it is, so?
Oh, you see, I sort of have a problem seeing through lead.
Oh, that's interesting. Problems and first name. Do you have a first name?
What do you mean, like Ralph or something?
No, I mean like,
Pink.
Huh?
Pink.
A wonderful, charming scene. Now, the last 40 minutes of the film, though, is a juvenile crime story with Gene Hackman playing a soft criminal trying to blow up California. He's a namby-pamby sort of villain we used to see on that old Batman TV show. But, the love story. That's what makes Superman really worth seeing.
The love story indeed. I knew the love story was coming. I thought the special effects were great. What surprised me was, look at it this way. This movie has been coming for 6 years. It's been announced 100 times. It cost $60 million, $40 million, a couple of $1 million one way or the other.
A lot of money.
I expected that with that kind of money, they would be very solemn in their approach toward the money they spent, toward the special effects. I was surprised that it had a sense of humor. The thing that surprised me about the movie is that along with everything else, it's one of the year's most refreshing comedies.
I'll challenge you, though, on one point, and that's the special effects. As far as the flying special effects are concerned, I thought they were fine. You can't see any wires. But some of the special effects that weren't involving the flying, like a dam bursting was an obvious model. There's a plane that falls out of the sky.
What about when Superman is holding up the Earth's crust, for example, stops the earthquake?
That's a good one. No? But there's a helicopter shot that looks cheap. And there are many other things. I think they spent so much time on getting the flying right that they let some of the other stuff go.
I really don't think we've made the movie sound too boring. He's holding up the Earth's crust, airplanes are flying out of the sky, dams are bursting, the California coast slides into the sea. It's really a pretty entertaining picture.
It's a lot of fun, but I'll go back to the human terms, and specifically the performance of Christopher Reeve. This guy is a natural light comedian. He's just as good as Clark Kent as he is as Superman. He's really an actor to watch.
And if the role had been cast in the wrong way, they would have been in big trouble. He pulls it off. They had a national talent search. For once, they found the right talent. And finally, we were both really enthusiastic about the sensational epic Superman. We went into the theater with our doubts and came out as believers. I did even more so than Gene, so 2 big yeses for the Man of Steel.